Welcome to Operation Healing Heroes. Join me in the boat today as we feature retired U.S. Army and Korean War veteran Charlie Gitzinger.
They served for us. They sacrificed for us. Their stories deserve to be told. Every military veteran has a story to tell. Join our host, Jay Garstecki, as we honor the stories of our true American heroes, one soldier at a time. The mission today is Operation Healing Heroes. Brought to you by Great Clips.
You'll find lakes and rivers anywhere you go in Wisconsin. Teeming with freshwater fish, Powers Lake in southern Wisconsin is considered a hidden gem. It's here where we meet up with one of America's hidden gems, Charlie Gitzinger. Charlie is an Army veteran who served during the Korean War, a journeyman for the ages, with endless stories that need to be heard.
Straight back. Straight back. Straight back.
Beautiful.
Got it.
We got some wind we got to contend with.
All of a sudden. 1 foot.
You got it.
2 feet. Hey, we made it. All
Made
right.
that look easy.
Yes, sir.
I don't even get in that easy. I usually trip and fall, so. Got to make sure we keep you safe out there.
Yep.
No swimming today, Charlie.
No swimming. I only go swimming with women.
You're gonna show me how to do this, right?
I'm going to show you how to do it.
All right.
You drive the boat, I'll catch the fish.
You got it.
Much like fishing stories, war stories come in all shapes and sizes. Some come from the front lines with grand heroic acts of valor. But for Charlie, they were more of the journeyman's variety, still just as heroic.
You're kidding me.
You got your dollar ready? You getting this? How about that, Jay?
You didn't even let me get my rod out.
You had your rod out. It was sticking out over the side of the boat.
Good job.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Chicago. 2 brothers, one older, one younger, and I had 5 sisters. My dad would take me fishing, but basically where we'd go fishing is Lake Michigan. We'd go down to Montrose Harbor, and we'd go perch fishing. And after school, I got a job at a company called Fort Dearborn Lithograph, whose basic product was printing canned goods labels. That was 1948. I was working and I was going to school nights, and I said, you know, this is a tough existence, working all day, going to school at night, trying to pay for it and all that. Why don't I get into the military and let them pay me while I'm in the military and then pay to help educate me when I get out? I thought that was a hell of a good idea. So I decided to join the military, and I enlisted I tried to enlist in the Air Force. And when I went for my physical, they rejected me because I had what they called flat feet and crooked ankles. They declared me unfit for military service. The Air Force told me that. I went to the Army. They told me the same thing. I went to the Navy. I went to the Marines. I went to the Coast Guard. And I think I even tried the janitors organization there, but nobody would take me. I never thought at that point in time the military would be in my future at all. I would have anything to do with them, and they would have nothing to do with me. Well, in 1950, the North Koreans invaded South Korea. The UN replied with American troops. My older brother was drafted and said, Charlie, you better get ready. I says, no, the military doesn't want me. They already had a chance to have me a year ago. They're not gonna ever want me. Well, that wasn't exactly true. In 1951, they said, hey, we don't care if you got crooked ankles and flat feet or whatever, come on. And they drafted me. And the next thing I know, I was on a train to Fort Sheridan.
You got me on the dollar fish. But I'm telling you, it's the biggest fish that counts. And you know who's gonna catch the biggest fish, right?
Well, you may catch the biggest fish, Jay, but I gotta tell you something. It's not the biggest fish that counts.
No?
It's number one, the first fish that counts and the most fish that counts. If you wanna sit here all day and catch one big fish, fine. I'll sit here all day and catch 15 nice sized fish,
There
okay?
you go. I like the way you think, Charlie. I like the way you think.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Great Clips, Power Pole, and by St. Croix Rods.
Operation Healing Heroes is a nonprofit organization dedicated to documenting the lives of our U.S. military veterans. In addition, we also provide financial support and treatment for post-traumatic stress. Your donation will help heal our heroes.
After failing his first attempt to join the military, Charlie received his second opportunity. Crooked ankles and flat feet were no longer going to hold him back. Charlie was drafted. He received his notice and was quickly sent off to basic training before setting sail on a long, tumultuous trip to Korea.
Got one, Jay.
It's a pike.
Way to go, huh?
I think you convinced me I gotta change to a rattle trap.
Come here, fella.
That's a pretty one, huh? Good job. Hey, I'm getting sick of taking your fish off of hooks.
Hey, I'm gonna hire you for a guide when I go up to Temple Bay next time. It took the ship 14 days, and that was a little longer than normal, to get from Seattle to Yokohama, Japan. And I was sick every single day, 24 hours a day.
Wow.
I existed on coffee, water, and soda crackers.
Wow.
That's all I could eat. We were on the tail end of a typhoon, so we got to Japan a week later than we were supposed to. They put us on a train to Camp Drake, which was right outside of Tokyo. Well, because we were late, everybody at the camp that was processing people was off for Christmas.
Oh, for Christmas.
So there was nobody there. So we were just like a bunch of POWs in this big camp with barbed wire fences all around the place. We didn't know where anything was. We didn't know anybody. We were a bunch of total strangers, and we were surrounded by a 12-foot high barbed wire fence. And that's how I spent Christmas Eve. And I tell you truthfully, Jay, that was probably the worst day of my life. The first day in my life that I was ever away from my family at Christmas. And here there was no one there. I mean, there was no one there to say, hey, Merry Christmas, you guys, welcome to Japan, nothing. Totally depressed. Like I felt at that time, if somebody wanted to take me and put me against the post and shoot me, I would have said fine. They put us on a train at 10 o'clock in the morning. And we sat on the train until almost 8:30 that night because they wouldn't move the train until it was totally dark. You couldn't have any lights of any kind. You couldn't light a cigarette if you had one or anything. There was nothing allowed. And they sent us up the other side of Seoul to a place called Chuncheon, which was headquarters for the 24th Engineer Construction Group. They sent us to the 62nd Engineer Construction Battalion. We're put in tents. It was so cold. It was so cold. I had on almost every article of clothing that I had, and I crawled into my sleeping bag without taking anything off, including my mittens, my boots, my cap, nothing. Crawled in there because it was freezing cold. I immediately went to see the company commander and told him my story. I said, you know, I've been promised a job as a pressman. I have an MOS as a pressman. He looked at my records, of course, and he said, oh yeah, I see you're a pressman, no question about it. But he said, you know, we're so short of men here. He says, we need people desperately. We can't let you transfer. You got to stay right here. I says, but I have the wrong MOS, pressman. He said, that's not a problem. As of right now, you're a plumber.
Just like that.
Just like that, I was now a plumber.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Recon Boats, Thorne Brothers, and by FVP.
Like the way you think.
Now, I will say this.
What's that?
There is a $5 prize for the first and only muskie.
All right, sounds good. Are there even muskie in this lake?
Why is that important?
If you'd like to see more behind-the-scenes footage, follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, make sure you check out our podcast, Operation Healing Heroes, where we're going to tell more veteran stories. If you're a U.S. military veteran in Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, or beautiful sunny Florida, log on to our website, takeavetfishing.org, to find an event near you.
Oh boy, we got
Another one. Big one?
Almost seems like it. Smaller than the last one.
Caught good though, didn't it?
Yeah, smaller than the last one.
Good job, show off.
He's a professional? Yeah. Professional what? I thought about my family quite a bit and how they didn't know where I was or what was going on with me, and I felt I had to write them a letter because that was the only way you could communicate, telling them where I was, that I was doing fine, not to worry about me, everything was great. You know, I didn't tell them all the problems I was having. There was nothing they could do about it. Why worry them? I just told them everything was great. I was fine, getting a lot to eat, and food was passable, and that was it.
Everything is fine, Charlie wrote, a common sentiment shared by most servicemen who would ride home. An attempt to ease concerns, perhaps, or maybe even wishful thinking. Charlie and his company continued going bridge to bridge, working with local construction workers, eventually getting to work on a bridge with historical significance.
During the time of the peace talks, were you guys aware of what was going on? Or
yes, yes, we were. Yes, we were aware of the peace talks. The peace talks were going on. I think first they met at Kaesong, which was not far from where we were, and then they moved to Panmunjom. They went on for quite a while. And that's where we ended up building this bridge across a ravine that we put a sign on. We labeled it Freedom Gate Bridge. You know, we had to drive through enemy territory for about, I would say, 10 miles. We were probably a maximum about 2 miles from the main line of resistance, which is where the American force or the UN forces and the Chinese forces and North Koreans were facing off against one another. So we were right up there where if there was going to be any fighting, that's where it would be. But we built this bridge and we decided to call it Freedom Gate Bridge. It didn't have a name. We made a big sign and put over it. The first group they exchanged, they got to walk across that bridge under our sign, Freedom Gate Bridge.
Charlie embraced his role as an engineer, far from his original MOS of a pressman. Charlie's roles range from carpentry to masonry, but still no plumbing. Finally, Charlie and a couple of his buddies got some much-needed R&R. On a quick trip to Kyoto, Charlie and his friends found themselves in some of the ritziest hotels, living the good life. Blowing off steam was a common practice among the troops, until the time came to head back to base.
We got on our plane, which was the same type of plane we'd come over in, a C-119 flying boxcar. And we got in there, heading back to Korea. I kind of fell asleep like I always do when I'm on a bus or a train or a plane. And I wake up and I said, geez, I looked at my watch and said, we should have been back at Kimpo Air Base a long time ago. What the hell's going on? All of a sudden, whammo, we hit the ground and we're sliding across the runway. We had no wheels. The landing gear would not come down. So we belly landed on the tarmac at Kimpo Air Base, and that whole back end of the plane that opens up tore off. It was gone. So the guy sitting next to me, and then there was the runway. 3 more feet and we would have been laying on the runway.
Wow.
And that was my 5 days leave.
Fisher House Foundation builds comfort homes where military and veteran families can stay free of charge while a loved one is in the hospital. These homes are located at military and VA medical centers around the world.
If you'd like to personally thank a veteran that you've seen in one of our episodes or nominate a veteran to be featured in a future episode, log on to our website, operationhealingheroes.org.
So after 18 months there, I was getting ready to go home. Our first stop was Hawaii. I swore to myself and my buddies that I would not get back on the ship. I said, why the hell should I? Here I am in Hawaii, I'm staying in Hawaii, that's it. And I said, come on, Charlie, we'll have one more drink and then you can go to wherever the hell you want, we're going back to the ship. I started a drink, and the next thing I remember is I was waking up, we were 6 hours out to sea. I don't remember to this very day how I ever got on the ship or anything else, but that trip took us 34 days.
Wow.
We left in May and we got there, I think it was June 10th or something like that.
You tried, obviously, to go into the military and they wouldn't have you.
That is correct.
Until they drafted you.
That is correct.
Knowing now what you didn't know then, would you do it all over again?
I would never take $1 million to do it again, but I would never take $1 million for the experience.
So let me ask you this, when you got back from Korea, were you still a plumber?
As far as the military was concerned, yes. All of my papers show me as a plumber.
But you built bridges and you...
I built bridges and I built buildings and I poured concrete and I dug ditches and I did all kinds of things, but I never did I ever see where there was a need for a plumber.
So you spent 24 years total in the military, 2 active, 22 on reserve.
That is correct.
Retired as a sergeant major.
That is correct.
You may not be on the front lines and at the tip of the spear, so to speak, but you're a journeyman and you did a lot of the work that was absolutely necessary for our military to conduct and do operations that made us successful in the war.
That's the way all of us in our unit felt. We're doing our job. These guys that are up there in the MLR, they're doing their job, they're fighting. We're doing our job. We're taking care of them in many respects. We're building their bridges and fixing their roads, and we were proud to do it. We weren't.
You should be proud of us.
We didn't feel bad about it. No, we felt, hey, we're just like them. We're doing our job.
If you don't mind, I'd like to just say, on behalf of Operation Healing Heroes, and I know all of our viewers, I want to make sure we say thank you, and I want to give you a little something to remember the day by in these couple days of filming. So I'm sure you've seen enough episodes that you know this was coming, but custom Thorne Brothers rod, St. Croix.
Oh my God. Oh, you're
got
kidding.
all the branches of service and the Operation Healing Heroes logo on there, and then here on the bottom it says, handcrafted for Charlie Gitzinger by Thorne Brothers. Thank you for your service.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
And of course,
thank you and the entire organization. I really and truly appreciate this.
we've got you your own Operation Healing Heroes jersey.
Oh my God, that's
it's a little windy out here, but
Yep.
It's got your name on the front and the back. That's for you.
Oh,
Charlie, thank you so much. We've known each other for years, but I
Yes, sir.
certainly appreciate you. I love the stories. I love going fishing with you.
I appreciate everything you and all the other people with your organization have done for me. I really appreciate it, and my whole family appreciates it.
Well, thank you, and
You
thank you
guys
for
are
your
great
service. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So again, it's so important.
But
And I made sure that this rod only catches saltwater fish. So you're
so,
so you're never gonna outfish me again, not with that rod anyway.
are you kidding? Are you kidding?
If you'd like to personally thank a veteran that you've seen in one of our episodes, or nominate a veteran to be featured in a future episode, log on to our website, operationhealingheroes.org, and click on the nominate button.